So we closed near the lower implied move. We didn't quite test it, but we got pretty close. Definitely a bearish day. 136 basis point move, which was roughly priced in last night. But will definitely increase historic vol over the short term. This is one of our rarer lower closes, so bit of rough news at the end of the day from Oracle driving things down. 70, 75 and GF were the same person putting flaps. Out here on futures, we lost the 68.12 level, which we spoke about yesterday, being kind of the bear confirm. Continued to drop, lost 67.51, and made a new low just under 67.18. The bounce back above the 67.51 support failed into end of day, and this opens up another leg lower going into Monday. We would have expected, for this to develop into a double bottom and pushed out higher, maybe getting 68.12 by the end of the day had that news not come in. But because it did, we're closing a lot lower, and we get a little bit of momentum going into the weekend to the downside, with VX up 17% on the day. So huge moves in volatility, very bearish. Yields at the top end of the curve continued to slide up, but dollar flattened out, down about 12 points. Not a significant rejection in the dollar, but somewhat of a rejection. Obviously, the 12% up move in CL, which wasn't the peak of the day, having some impact on commodities and probably driving quite a bit of the equity volatility that we're seeing right now. But commodities breaking higher, moving out towards like 2022 levels, and fairly similar to like 2012, 2014 levels. So cup and handle forming here over the long term, which is a pretty clear signal. We'd expect to see some profit taking, significant profit taking commodities around like, this is an index, but when this gets out to be about like 138, 140. Correlation on the 1 month breaking up. This is the highest level for 1 month correlation since April of 2025 or May of 2025. And 3 month correlation following suit. So big breakdowns in dispersion. Bond volatility hasn't moved up substantially with the move up in 3 month correlation, but it should generally follow suit. Leverage on the carry still pushing up, actually, 9.96x, almost back to 10x. Leverage on the short end falling off a little bit, but forward yield on volatility closing the day out up 10%, which is fairly significant. The kind of negative effect on margin that we were seeing from silver shifted back a little bit positive, but not very much. I still think silver and gold are probably shaky, but because commodities are being driven so hard by the energy prices, it might be a good idea to kind of stay away from them. If I saw like a big move in the dollar or something like that, like a big drop in the dollar, then maybe I'd be a little bit more comfortable with the downside. But so far, we're not getting that. We got a tiny one, but not a big one. Skew continued to push up. Obviously, breadth is starting to expand to the downside. 20-day movers kind of running away, and we're getting 200 stocks above their 200-day moving average starting to fall back towards 50%. Still at 55 though, so this is still roughly around where we were in November, December, and not even near November's lows. So like kind of after the November, December recovery, we're starting to slip those levels on stocks above their 200-day moving average. But you'd want to see all of those kind of coming down together, which we are seeing over the last like week or so. They are moving together, but stocks over their 200 days moving average are staying a little bit more stable, and definitely not catching up with stocks under their 50 and 20-day MAs. So still a very narrow subset of the market driving a lot of the downside and volatility here. A little bit of a bet on Fed fund futures popping up. Probably higher rate cut expectations now due to the increase in unemployment. Although I think that's the whole reason that we got the last cut. So probably not well informed, but a bet nonetheless. 10-2 slid up to 58.4. SOFR continues to drift back towards even with IORB, and we're starting to see the SOFR futures pull down also. So front end liquidity is improving following the end of the month. This could have some effect next week. We may get some bullishness out of that correction in the pricing of near short term cash. Huge move up in VX today, and also volatility almost closing at the top of its range. Pretty rare. Correlation just bumped up a little tiny bit, 90.21 to 90.64, but do keep in mind that these correlations are already very, very high. And short of, like a big vol squeeze, which we're getting very close to, they'll probably stay in the 90% range. Leverage fell off dramatically. Big drop in leverage today, which is probably not a great sign. And volume to the downside, pretty shit actually. Not a lot of down volume. A little bit worse than yesterday actually. And then out here, and we'll take a look at the technicals. That is a failed diamond top. So we failed it, bounced, retested the 20 MA, and then fucking failed it again. This actually opens up some big moves. If we go out further, we look at the 6720 level, like on the monthly. This is pretty significant because this failure opens up range kind of all the way back down to the 67 or 6520 level from the November low. A failure of that opens up, fucking move all the way back down towards like 4800. So 6520 going to be pretty important going into next week, especially if we continue this slide down. Big deal. Lastly, well, fucking everything selling off. I mean, Raytheon and LMT and Boeing doing well, but everything else in tech dumping. And then over on tech services, Meta, Oracle, Microsoft, Google, not doing so great. Finance obviously selling off pretty hard. So we're just getting a broad sell off across pretty much everything. Costco holding up though. Look at them go. But this is where you start to get the breakdown in all the defensive rotation that everyone's been doing, and this is definitely indicating a broader, larger market sell-off and bigger correction. Who cares if GME is green? It's just because when other things are moving, no one wants to bother trading it because it's worthless. Oil's up fucking 12% today. You think anybody with actual money gives a flying fuck about GameStop? Have a great weekend, Jason. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you on Sunday for the member stream.